Well, good morning, everybody. Hey, Francisco, how you doing today? Thanks for coming to the studio.
Good, good. How are you?
Good. It's
Good.
funny. I had somebody call me this week about one of my clients that they had their own agent, and well, now they have a new agent, and he's like, "Oh, I think I've seen the stuff with you and Francisco on there."
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we do a little bit.
Yeah, no, I know you were telling me too. We have one of ours that's going viral that we were talking
Well, it's
about.
actually one of me,
Yeah.
but you're just happen to be there. No, yeah, on TikTok, it's up to 717,000.
Yeah, that's good.
Not bad. So basically, we were talking about manufactured homes and how some people have put them on property without putting them on a permanent foundation, and it can be done in certain areas. I didn't say it could be done everywhere, and people are like, "He's full of shit. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an idiot." I'm like, I don't. And then you go in there and there's people like fighting with each other in there, and I'm like, I don't care. Keep doing that.
Right. That's
Yeah.
well, that's one of the things. I mean, there's always mixed things, but it's exactly like you said. I mean, it's wherever it's permissible as well, which is why it's important. I mean, with anything, any investment, any type of property you're buying, to, do your due diligence, look in, county, city, whatever it takes to make sure. But that's the thing is, you can't find those areas.
Oh yeah, and you can't just say, "Well, it's going to work everywhere."
Right.
Because what I'm saying, I know worked up in Tuolumne County. I didn't say it's going to work everywhere, but that's just me. I just know certain things. So what are you
Yeah.
going to do?
No, and I know, I mean, out there right now, it's like one of the last few areas around here that isn't like breaking over 300K for like starting fixer uppers,
Well, they're not. I mean, the one thing about Tuolumne County, you want to get somebody in a home, take them up there. They will work with you. They will give you money for closing costs. It's not like they're where we were 3 months ago.
Right.
Okay, that's where they are. Because you got to remember, they have seasons up there, which we don't really have. They do. They have snow where you can't get into properties and you'll fall on your butt if you try to get in there. And I always say, if the deck's bad, sell it during the winter.
I'll snow over it.
Yep.
No, yeah, no, it's but it's it's kind of what we were talking about a little bit off air. It's just how the rates, we're really starting to see it kind of slow things down a bit more. Like I mean, I hosted 2 open houses this last weekend. I did one on Friday, which I know it's not always the busiest, but I did like 3 to 6, and then Sunday I did 12 to 3, and they were both in Tracy. And out of both days, only one group of people came in.
Wow.
So,
well, like the last one you had that I saw, you had 22 people come by there.
Right.
Couples.
So yeah. And I mean, granted, it's also the area because
it's location.
Exactly. I mean, not to say that it's in a bad spot, but it's also a much higher price point that, it makes it more difficult. But I mean, over here, Modesto in this area it's really, really strong. Everything's still really competitive.
But it's not a cheap price point you were at either down here. You were at that.
Yeah, that one was like 500. No, actually 580. Like around. Yeah. So it's yeah, I mean, we're seeing a little bit of the changes, but granted, there's still desirability, and those areas that do have that high desirability are still going really quickly.
So you're saying location.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Right. I mean,
everything has to do with location. Right?
Yeah, it's one of the most important pieces of it. I actually was having this conversation with a client of mine because they're, again, it's like kind of trying to help motivate people to see the benefit of shopping right now, which is definitely negotiating and, being able to get credits that I don't think will really be around once the rates do start to drop. But, sometimes some people are like, oh, could we offer like a whole lot more or less, right?
Right.
And it depends.
No, you can't do
that. Yeah. Well, granted, I mean, I did feel there was some room on this specific house. However, then they started bringing up, okay, well, there's work that needs to be done in the house. Yes, that's going to be a factor, but before that comes, location and time of sale, and then also, the square footage, like the actual bones of it. Whenever it comes to cosmetics for like an appraiser, they'll give good value for it, right? But it's not a lot.
No, and they're not really worried about that,
right?
So, yeah,
or like a pool, like a lot of people dish out
10 grand.
Yeah.
Unless they spent 300 grand for it, then they might give them 25 to 30.
Yeah. And that's what's tough is like, because then it's even like the question of like, I had someone ask me the other time too, of like, oh, is it cheaper to just build? Right. Like,
no,
it's not. And it's also, it's also costly, like on your headspace, you know, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Do you want to stay married? That's the real question. I always tell people when they're thinking about it, how much do you love your spouse? Because I've known couples who split up over it. But the difference between myself and my wife, when we were looking at ours, I'm like, go ahead and do everything you want. I looked at a couple things. Can we change this? Because makes no sense to have an L island in this big ass kitchen that I have to walk all the way around to get to. Why don't we just make it an island instead of an L? So we can do each sides of, oh, yeah, that sounds so much better. Yeah. Well, those are the little things I have. Everything else I didn't care about.
Yeah.
But if you have two people fighting at the same thing, wanting their own stuff, and you're going to have issues.
Right.
But you're right. The building. So that's why a lot of people look at your insurance right now for your replacement costs. I guarantee it's not enough. Yeah, have that up, because values to replace things cost so much more now. So you might want to look at that before you forget.
That was a big thing, right? With the insurance right now. Like,
well, the big thing with insurance right now, they don't want to be here because the losses they've had with the fire insurance over the last so many years, they've had to pay out because of all the insurance claims because of the fires.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So there are a lot of, what they're doing is they're trying to get the government, our California government to wake up and figure stuff out. And if they all leave, then guess what? They might have to do something. That's why they did what they did.
Yeah.
Back to a couple things that you're talking about, affordability. So we're at the worst affordability in 40 years. Sad thing was we were just at the best in 40 in like history, right? Which we're not going to stay at those rates. I'm not saying that, but we shouldn't have went up this far, 6% or ridiculous 5%, that we went up this high so far. One of the issues that a lot of people don't realize, they keep saying, when should I wait? I should wait for this. It's going to get better. I don't see it getting better. And one of the reasons I'm saying that is we've had inventory issues, right? Nationwide, our inventory for the whole United States as of the end of September 8th of last week was 509,156.
Yeah.
That's nationwide.
Yeah, no, that's not.
2015, same time, almost 1.2 million homes on the market.
No, it's difficult. And then
3.5 million in 2008. All right. So we see a bubble here.
Right. Exactly like you said, right? I mean, it's the opportunity bubble, you know, that is, I mean, it's like the needle's right there, that's like the biggest difficulty that we've been seeing. And even like we were talking a little bit off air about some of our clients that we just helped close like about 6 months ago,
or maybe 3, 4.
Like, if that. And they're like, oh my gosh, we're so happy that, we bought.
Right. And they were worried back then.
Exactly. Yeah. And they even, it was funny because I expressed to them too, how when we had first started talking, they expressed those kinds of concerns where they were like, hey, I mean, we feel like this thing's going to drop, like something has to drop. And I mean, they're really happy that they just locked in at that time. And now it's, people could still afford it. It's just that it is causing a slowdown, which is why I tell everybody, I mean, if you...
Well, hold on, let's back up. There's not a slow down when you have hardly anything on the market to begin with. We just said we only had 509,000 houses available on the market for the whole United States. That's not a slowdown. That is a limited inventory. If more houses were on the market, if we had double, triple, quadruple the amount of homes on the market, we might have a slowdown. Right now, we're if a house comes up that's listed right in a great location, it's going to go. The people are going to go, I'm going to pay for it. They're going to buy it. And I didn't mean to cut you off, so I apologize.
No, you're good. No, that's well, and that's and I get exactly what you're saying, because it's and I take it back.
The terms that you use,
right? People
are saying, well, the median price is down, so the values are down. No, that's not what that means. If we only have 35% of the normal inventory on the market, and there's not enough sales because there's not enough inventory, that's not a slowdown. That's a lack of inventory. Here's an example. You go to a car lot and they have 2 cars on the lot, and they sell those 2 because that's all the cars they've had because of the pandemic. They can't fill up the lot. Is that a car slowdown or is that an inventory issue?
Right.
Same thing.
No, yeah. And it's even, we see it where there is that inventory issue that's still, despite even the high rates and with everything going on, like, it doesn't matter. It's not letting off.
Because people know that you can always refinance down the road. and I hate to say this and I hate to tell people because it's going to probably maybe get worse, like almost 8% before it gets better. We won't know this month. I'm starting to hear how many people are hurting. I'm starting to hear how many people they were saying that 8 to 9% of the people out there are behind on their credit cards 90 days plus. Okay. I said currently past due of their like payment that's due to almost 1 month late, right? I'm saying 50% of them are that way. You watch the next 30 days is going to show how drastic people are hurting with the credit card debt. You're going to see that that's the biggest number because people don't have money anymore. They don't have all that, the pandemic bucks that they've been living off of, the cash that they had, the $5 billion worth of cash that was in bank accounts beginning of this year is all gone.
Yeah. That's where we're really, are going to, and with that being said, though, there's still a lot of people that are able to still afford and are still, that's what's keeping the market strong. The demand doesn't really let off that much. Everyone wants it.
Well, you got to remember a third of the value of a third of the properties out there in a normal market will sell because of death, divorces, job transfers. Guess what's going on right now? That.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So we're going, well, it's continuing. Well, there's just enough demand for those three things because of the value, the rates, and people know that. I came across a thing where people were saying, if you're a single guy and you want to rent a room out, I came across it's not there yet, but realtor.com is working a thing with Airbnb where it can tell you what you can rent a room for. When you're buying, this house that I'm going to think about buying, I want to see about renting it, how much I can rent each one of the rooms for. If I stay in the master, what I can rent each one that can help you afford that house, not qualify for the house, but afford the house in your own mind. Yeah. And we're telling people, travel nurses, travel doctors, they're constantly coming into town, different places. They're always looking for places to live for 3 months at a time. And then they're gone and they usually work nights.
No, and that's a great way. I mean, it's like I do it, and it helps.
Well, but you do long-term tenants.
Right.
I'm not saying long-term tenants. I'm saying doctors, nurses who come in for a short period of time and then are gone. You do it for 3 months. You don't do it again for another 12 months. And because you make enough in those 3 months for them renting that room from you because you do it Airbnb rates. And that's what they pay because they get amazing per diem and payments on those things.
Right. That's what I heard a lot, even when people are, like even the duplex options, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, it's huge. I mean, it helps a lot, especially, to help you ease into it. And then eventually, you can refinance and then you're really comfortable.
I know. But one of the things that I came up with is we're here to help solve people's problems. One of the problems that they have right now is the payment on an average $400,000 house is $300 to $3,200. And most people go, I can't afford that. I'm only paying $1,500, $2,000 for rent. But eventually the rents are going to get higher and higher. I'm saying there is another. So this is the dilemma. And we tell them, okay, we'll rent something. And then so we just, in order to fix that problem, we just gave them a solution that causes another problem. That other problem is, how do I find that tenant that I don't want to have in my house that won't pay rent? Can I give you half today for those people? We don't want those people. We want quality people. I'm trying to say, here's a way to do it, to make it so you can afford it and you have quality people, but you don't have them all the time. Are you following what I'm getting at? Instead, the duplex thing is great because I saw, a lot of people say, get a duplex, rent out the other side. It makes it easier. Yes. But what if you don't want to live in a duplex? Here's another way to do it.
Yeah.
Because if your payment's $3,200, I guarantee you're going to get $1,500 a month minimum, for a 3-month period, enough to offset $1,000 to $1,500 of that payment for the whole year.
Yeah, and like you're saying, with travel nurses and those kinds of agencies, they pay a good amount, to make sure that the nurses and everything are comfortable. And it's like you're saying. I mean, just taking even that little break, it helps a lot.
I told my wife, we're going to be taking one of these rooms we have extra. We're going to clean it up, put a bed in there, make it really nice.
No, and it's
we
and like you're saying,
we have a Rottweiler and a American Bully. They'll freak out because of those dogs.
Right. No, and there's probably like set regulation or whatever, but either way, I mean, it's a great option. Even just considering renting out in general, and like you said, I mean, there's challenges that could be posed by it, but still, it's definitely worth considering, especially with the way that things have been changing. And again, it's not going to impact, make you qualify for more, but it is going to help you have more security.
Right. So that you feel that you can make those payments.
Yeah.
Because we'll tell you whether or not we think you can, but it's not what we think, it's what you want.
Exactly.
Right. And that's the difference. And right now the reason it's a good time to buy is because there's less people wanting to do it because they feel the same way as you. But the people who can get around that are the ones who are going to win, because these values are not going to go down. They're going to continue to go up. And it's just because of supply and demand. It's 101 economics. If you don't believe me, go get 101 economics and read the book. It'll tell you that supply and demand, that controls the prices. A lot of demand, hardly any supply. Guess what goes up? Think about toilet paper. Remember how hard it was to get toilet paper, how expensive it was during the pandemic? That's how houses are right now.
Yeah.
All right. Make it a great day. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Francisco, for being here. If you like what we do, subscribe and let us know.